Now, what's it like for a prior service Marine to join the Army? Coming up. Hey, welcome to the channel, friends. As always, man, I'm stoked to see you. So I'm gonna come at you. I know this is a question I've gotten a few times, and although it's gonna be, I'm gonna talk to some prior service Marines who are going to be entering the Army. It really does apply to everybody, regardless of whether you're a future soldier, a coastie, or a swabby, or whoever it is that's coming over. I'm just going to use some language and probably describe some things that a prior service guy knows. And really, it'll even apply to prior service Army dudes coming back in, too, at the end of the day. So I am a prior service Marine who served in the Corps from 95 to 2003, and then I got out for about 7, almost 8 years, and I came back in 2010, and I've been rocking it since then. And what are some lessons learned? What was that culture shift? What did I do in my mindset to help prepare me for success? Again, it doesn't really matter what your MOS is and things of this nature. So, everybody coming back in, as a prior service, and this is where it's gonna be a little different for prior service dudes compared to, to just some newbies coming in, is we don't get a lot of options as prior service, right? We're often told what MOS that we're going to receive, and that probably comes at no bonus because, the DOD, they see that we've already volunteered for stuff, so we're not going to get anything. We're nothing special in a lot of ways for that. So, what I did, what Stoker did, was I knew that I knew that it was going to be different, right? I knew that the Army was going to be different. So intentionally in my mind, I said, do not judge the Army based off your experience in the Corps. That's part of one of the reasons why I didn't go back in the Marine Corps, because I knew things would have been different. I didn't want to deal with it being different. So I'm okay with things being different as long as I know that they're going to be different, right? Does that, maybe that makes sense? I don't know. But I said, hey, I know it's going to be different, so clean slate. Let's get in here and let's just do this. And as I got into it, I met a soldier who had a lot of passion for the Army, for the history of the Army. He's kind of a history buff. And so he and I resonated a lot in how we communicated what it was that we enjoyed about the service. So that actually kind of did me really well to know that there are other people out there who enjoyed the rich history of the service. And then I started digging into the regs when I got into the basic leaders course at the time, or Warriors leaders course it was, and I was BLC. And what that really did was because all that does, and I didn't have to, right? As a graduate of the sergeant's course, I didn't have to go to BLC, but I knew it would be a discriminator if I didn't. At some point in time, at a promotion board or a centralized board, if somebody didn't see something on my ERB and on my chest, they were probably going to ask a question, and I didn't want that to happen. So I went to BLC, and of course all that did was dig me into doctrine, into regulation. So if you're coming in and you're a specialist, I'm going to highly encourage you, get to BLC as soon as you can. And it's OML based and with order of merit based. And so what that means is you need as many points as you can to get into the course. So you go on and you log into your PPW and see what you need to do to improve so that you can get a higher standing on the OML. And you're going to find out that in theory, on black and white, there's not a lot of difference between the services, right? There's really not. In practice, it can be a little bit different. But in theory, same UCMJ, almost the same battle drills, same drill and ceremony for the most part. There's so many similarities and approaches to things that there's really not a lot of actual difference. Not tangibly, physically, boots on the ground, there are some. But like with anything, It all comes down to who you're serving with and where you're at. And really not even where you're at, just who you're serving with. So you need to remember, and I was really fortunate that I had some old hats when I came in who appreciated my style. And no, nobody wants to hear "Ira." Nobody wants to hear "Semper Fi." Nobody wants to hear Jarheads are awesome or whatever. But at the same time, I was really fortunate that I had some senior leaders who appreciated my passion. Others may not have, but I was really fortunate that they did. Passion, that's what I call it. And similarly, nobody wants to hear about the last duty station. So it's not just a bias against prior service dudes. Nobody wants to hear about your last unit. Nobody wants to hear about how you used to do things back where you came from, right? Nobody cares. All we care about is our unit. And so that's one of the differences, between the Army and the Marine Corps. The Army is more regimental. We're more, 18th Airborne Corps or 82nd, right? It's Corps. We don't talk about 1st Moradiv or 2nd Moradiv as much as we do about just the Corps as a whole, right? Nobody knows who Smedley Butler belonged to. We just know about Smedley Butler, right? Come on. But so, I didn't really think that, so it really wasn't like a huge culture shock. Now, it is weird to see how big the Army is, how big it is, because it's stinking huge. But, I think everything realistically, I would tell anybody, just be hungry, right? Bring your lessons learned, bring the wisdom and the experience that you've had, because I do want that, right? I want you to bring you, and that's all of your history and all of your past that's brought you up here to now, right? All your experiences, all the things that you've learned, all the things that you can bring to the table, all the ways that you can be a value-added member to my organization. I do want that. So you need to bring that, and as you're bringing it, remember to dig back into doctrine on everything that you're going to do. Whether it's writing a memorandum, whether it's dealing with barracks policies, whether it's dealing with how to run guard duty. There's a doctrine for everything, right? There's an AR for everything. You don't have to make anything up. And what somebody else says is probably not right. Get back into black and white. That's where the answers always are. So I think those are probably some of the biggest key takeaways that I could give somebody. Things to consider as you're coming back in and making that process of coming back in. Hey, so if you have any specific questions, leave some comments down below or some lessons learned, things that you've experienced along the way, man. We will just keep this conversation rolling. I appreciate all you dudes out there and everything that y'all are out there doing and grinding. And until then, man, speaking of that, you keep grinding.